We're with Demon basketball coach Mike McConathy, whose team opens its season at home Friday night against LeTourneau. Coach, is your team ready to open the season?
I would hope so. We've had 2 scrimmages, which we didn't perform extremely well, but I mean, the opportunity to go against somebody in front of fans and friends makes a huge difference, and they're tired of playing one another, and we're tired of them playing one another, but we really have a long way still to go.
Really, though, this is the first game, then you wait a week and play again. So it's a final exam, if you will, against a, quote, lesser opponent, but I know you have a lot of respect for LeTourneau and any team that comes into Prather Coliseum.
Anytime you play somebody, they work just as hard as you do. It doesn't matter what level you're at. Bob Davis is a great coach with junior college background up in Wyoming. He'll have his team prepared. He's actually come over and watched us practice this year. So it'll be very interesting to see how they come. They've got 2 players that are all conference. One of them, I remember last year, I said, you know, that guy could play for us. And Coach Lewitt reminded me of that when we let the guy come in and watch practice.
Now, your team, certainly every year it evolves. You've got 12 lettermen back who've played for you before and contributed to some degree. You've got some newcomers that are going to be very important to you. How do you pull it together for Friday night?
Well, right now we're kind of in a situation where we're still trying to find our groups and find ourselves, and then trying to find the team that'll finish at the end of the game, and that takes a while. As I texted a couple of my players last night, I said it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, and we're trying to get to March. We're not trying to get to November the 8th, but we do have to make progress each day, and hopefully we can do that.
How excited are you to get the season underway?
Very much so, because in particulars, different players have different abilities, but some players are considered game players, and we've got a game player that I'd like to see really get after it.
And that is who?
Daquan Hicks.
He lights it up when the
He can
scoreboard's
flat
on.
play, and Jaylynn West practice. He comes to work every day and does a great job, but those 2 guys are going to be exciting to watch, along with the complement of other players.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We're with sophomore point guard Jaylynn West. First time I've had a chance to say that. Jaylynn, we'll start that over because your football team plays Saturday. We're with sophomore point guard Jaylynn West of the Demon basketball team that opens up its season finally Friday night at home against LeTourneau in Prather Coliseum, a 7:30 game. Jaylynn, you guys have really been looking forward to this for quite some time. You've been practicing for quite a while. How eager are you to play on Friday night?
I think we're very eager because we want to see how we test against another team, because going against each other and practice every day, I mean, we know what each other are going to do, like for us plays and tendency that people like where they like to shoot it or which way they like to go. So I think when we go against a different team, it'll be better.
Okay. You've got a season ahead of you. There are a lot of folks that expect the Demons to have another great season, to win the conference championship. How much do those expectations from outside affect you guys on the team?
I don't think it affects us that much, but it's a lot of pressure on us as far as being preseason #1. I think we'll have the target on our backs, and a lot of teams will bring their best game when they play us, so we'll have to do the same.
Okay, from a standpoint of when things, they don't always go right. And so for you guys, when things aren't going right, add in those expectations. Does it get more frustrating, or do you just work harder to keep it in stride and know that we're going to fight through this?
I think when things not going right, we just try to play hard as we can, even though we might turn the ball over or get a lot of foul calls against us. But as long as we're playing hard, I think things are falling in place. Like as long as we're rebounding and playing good defense, offense is going to come.
Okay, the rules changed this year, and there's a lot more emphasis on reducing defensive contact. Could be a lot more free throw shots, certainly be a lot more fouls called. How do you think it could change the game?
Well, I think it affects the game a lot because the way we play, we pressure, and we play aggressive a lot. But also on offense, we play aggressive. So I think it can help and also hurt us in a way, but I think we'll be pretty fine against it.
Okay. Give us a scouting report on the Demon team going into Friday night.
We're pretty young, athletic. I think we're faster than what we were last year. We have some experienced guys, some don't know as much as we would like, but I think we'll be pretty good.
Okay. And what are the goals other than winning Friday night against LeTourneau?
Just getting better as a team, make sure everybody in their right places, and make sure our freshmen get their feet wet and try to get them pretty good. And looking forward to the next game against Auburn and LSU and those guys.
And that's the thing. It's a progression. The next weekend, certainly a higher caliber of competition, but I know that you guys are not going to take Laterno lightly.
No, sir.
Talk about why that is.
We got to come in with every game with a lot of intensity and high energy. We can't take no games or no practices off. We got to play hard at every practice, every game, and make sure it carry over to the next game.
Lady Demon head basketball coach Brooke Stoehr, her team is about to start its season after an extended preseason with a lot of new players. Coach, I know you put a lot of time in practicing, trying to bring this team along. Friday night in Prather Coliseum, it's showtime. Is your team ready?
I think so. I think we're definitely ready to play somebody else. You know, you get to that point where you're just tired of beating up on each other in practice, and it's almost like, you know, two-a-days in fall camp in football. You're just ready to see somebody else. And we've had 2 close scrimmages, and I think we've gotten a lot out of both of those. Hopefully gotten a little of the jitters and nerves out for those 8 new players. And you almost have to say 10 because you throw Meredith and Trudy in that group that didn't play last year. So we've got a lot of new faces. I like to joke and say everybody's going to need to keep their roster in hand for you know, those first few home games. So hopefully they'll be able to figure out who is who on the court, and our players will be able to help them understand who they are as we go along.
Okay, you didn't have a full roster last year. You didn't have a deep rotation. How much does that change this year? Will you be playing many more players, or are you still going to keep your rotation?
No, I think the great thing is that we've seen bright spots from our whole roster, and you know, for us to say we're going to go 14, 15 deep, you know, I think that's probably a little unrealistic. We're not at Coach Mike's level quite yet, so but we're going to be able to go deep into the roster. I think it's going to be very beneficial for us this year with the way the games are going to be called, with a lot more emphasis on free-flowing movement for the offensive players. So I think we're going to need a deep bench. It's great for competition and practice. You know, kids are competing every day for playing time, and I think that will fluctuate throughout the year. And we've just challenged them, everybody be ready when your number's called. You be ready to go in and contribute, whether it be 1 minute, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it may be, just be ready to go compete and give your best.
Okay, you start with 2 home games, Friday night against Southern Arkansas, the next Wednesday night against the University of Houston. How much do you link those 2 games in terms of what you're trying to do to evaluate and develop your team?
Well, I think early on, especially with our game against Southern Arkansas, it's a new staff. They have, I think, like 10 or 11 players they signed in the spring, so it's a completely different look. So from a scouting standpoint early on, you know, it may be a little bit of a challenge to help prepare our players, you know, the way we normally would be able to. But we've got some good film and a few things that we'll be able to do. But I think from that standpoint, just getting them out on the court in front of somebody else, I think the emphasis is definitely going to be on us and do what we do, execute our stuff, and see where we go from there.